So, excuse me. Today what we are talking about is how to properly, in my opinion, get people onto loyalty rewards in Young Living, right? So on your Young Living team, what we know about loyalty rewards, it has a really cool stat that goes along with it, is it's something like 87 to 89%. I've heard two different numbers. So let's just go with the more conservative one, right? Let's just say 87%, because even if that's true, hot dog. So 87% of people that are on loyalty rewards have a stick rate. So they have an 87% stick rate. What that really means is that 87% of the people on loyalty rewards continue being on they continue ordering every month, right? They continue actually being good customers. And so whenever we're growing our business, there's different facets of the business. And one of the facets, and then we're going to pray and get into it, but one of the facets of the business is bringing people in, attracting people in, right? Attracting people into the business side, attracting people into the product side, right? So there's those two things. Whenever we have people in, well, now we need to help them become customers if it makes sense for them. We don't strong arm people into being customers if it's not right for them, right? But if it's right for them, and this is what we're going to get into today, if it's right for them, then that's where we start talking about loyalty rewards and all of the things. Okay, so give me a hot second. Gonna drink my juice. By the way, if you ain't drinking this every day, I'm not sure what you're even doing. So there's actually multiple of these a day, but that's the first one. Okay, so let's go ahead and pray real quick and we're going to get into it. Lord, thank you again for today. Thank you for the way that you show up and you solve things for us before they even become issues. I know in my life personally this morning, we had a weird thing where my mom had lost her phone, and then my sister and I got on a call and we were like, what are we going to do? Do we need to get her a new phone? Do we need to add her 2 lines? Blah, blah, blah. 15 minutes later, mom found her phone. God, you solve things before they're even issues, right? It's like, I think that's a microcosm of our lives. Sometimes we see things that are potential problems. We blow them all the way up into everything they could be negatively. And we prepare for all of these different outcomes. And in the meantime, you're sitting back like you don't even need to be doing that, children, right? You don't even need to be doing that. I got this. And I think what I want us all to think about, Lord, like just lay on our hearts today just how much you got this in everything. Just how much you got this. How much you got us. How much you got our circumstances. How much you got our fears. How much you got all of that. And any limitations we try to put on things, God, you got that too. And so, Lord, just lay that all over us today. Just show us in a way that only you can do. Show us all the things you are doing for us on a daily basis. Open our eyes to the miracles that are happening every day. Lord, we love you. We praise you. In your name, amen. That's real talk. Like that prayer alone, it's like, it's really funny because, and then I'm going to get into the topic, I promise, but it's really funny because we as humans are like, we're like, things are going really good. What could happen bad, right? Like, what are the bad things that could destroy this? And then we're like, or things are going really bad. How could this get worse? Rarely are we like, I feel so held, so content, so supported. Man, I look forward to what God's going to do next. Instead, our brain is like trying to prepare for things. And it's like, but we don't even need that. Like when we talk about the word surrender, and then I promise we're getting into loyalty rewards, I promise, but I think this needs to be spoken about. When we talk about the word surrender people look at as this cloudy, ambiguous thing. What does it mean? What do you actually do when you surrender? And it's not that you do nothing. It's not that you sit on the floor and just wait for things to happen to you. It's that you don't plan your will, right? You plan to be available for God's will. You plan to be available for God's will, not about your will, right? And I think that is true surrender. Like, how can I always be available? That's it. So, okay, let me go ahead and get into what I actually said I'm going to be talking about today, which is how to get people properly, in my opinion, on loyalty rewards, right? And so the way that this happens is, like I said before, we have two ways of people coming into the business, right? So we have people coming in via, we have two ways of people joining our team. One way is people joining via the business. One way is people joining as members. There will always be those two types of people. Some people have to join via the business because it is who they are. Some people have to join because of the products, because it is who they are. Sometimes people try to push everybody into joining via products and then join the business. And there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, but you definitely are leaving people off the table. You definitely are not addressing the people like me. You're not addressing the people that are like business oriented, right? That could really be great builders for you, that need to see the business side of it as they're introduced to the product side of it. Does that make sense? You've always got these different types of people. You have to make sure that you're always talking to all of them at the same time. Anyway, okay. You just follow me. I show you how to be able to do that. So once they're in, now there's a thing that you can do. If you're having a really good conversation with people and they're signing up, there's a thing that you can do, and it makes it the easiest, where you actually just talk about loyalty rewards as they're signing up. And so you're letting them know 24% off, right? You're letting them know that every month they're going to be getting basically credits back to be able to use for products in the future. And then you're letting them know that they can cancel at any time, right? That is a really great way to do it if you're open to having those conversations with people. There are some people, it's not duplicatable because not everybody can have that conversation with folks. Some folks are out there, and I don't blame you. There are some folks out there that are not salespeople, and they really want to stay away from all of that anyway. They're kind of like, listen, somebody's joining my team and that's my favorite thing, and I don't really want to go into all of these other details. Like, I'm not comfortable doing it yet. And so that's what makes that conversation not really duplicatable. It can be done. People like me, people like just that are open to talking about business and that sort of thing, open to sales, like those sorts of people can have those conversations. And even people that aren't comfortable with it in the beginning can become comfortable with it over time. However, you won't have the opportunity to become comfortable with it over time if you don't continue the business. And typically people that don't continue the business are because they haven't become successful. And so we need to be able to address that in this spot right here. Does that make sense? So like, if you can't do this, I need to show you a way to make it a thing that you can do. I need to show you a way to be able to get people on loyalty rewards so that your team and your business actually grows, so then you can get better at this at some point. Hopefully you're following. I had my Ningxia, so now I'm just like, ping. So how do we do it past that initial conversation? So if that ain't you, no big deal. How do we do it if that ain't you? And so the way that you do it is, first of all, we need to be following up with people. So whenever they sign up, we need to know why they signed up, what they were looking for, right? And then after the first month, we need to check back with them. How is everything working out? Are things happening that you wanted to happen? Are you looking for more that you're not getting yet? Is there, and what we're doing is we're really just having that, what can be an uncomfortable conversation for some people, but for my heart-centered people, it's actually not an uncomfortable conversation. because it's a conversation that's truly in service. It's a conversation that's really like, you know what? Your money doesn't even matter to me. I want to make sure that you're getting what you need out of this. And whenever we frame it that way, it's the easiest conversation ever to have, because you're okay if they leave. You have to be okay if your people leave. And everybody just puked all at once, probably. Watching this video, they're all just like, oh my gosh, she just said leave. Listen, if you don't have this conversation and they're not having a good time and they're not having good results, they're going to leave anyway. What we're doing here is we're being open, we're being authentic, we're being honest, and we're addressing those things. And so after 30 days, you say, hey, like, how are things going? How is everything working? How is everything working? Is stuff working the way you want it to? How are you feeling? Are you like excited? Is stuff like cool stuff happening? Asking for testimonials, like what has changed in your life? You and I both know whenever people start Young Living, then the first month they're like, what is happening to me, right? Because there are things that, especially if they are drinking Ningxia, right? And Nitro and Mindwise, I'm telling you, that is my trifecta. But if they are drinking at least Ningxia, they're starting to be like, okay, I don't even, what is happening to me right now? Because I feel amazing. And then, so you get those testimonials from them. And so you lean into that, like, that's awesome. Is there anything else that, like, you know, that you wanted to take care of? Were there, you know, was there anything else you wanted to switch out? Was there, you know, like, just what is going on? You're not trying to sell things. You're trying to get a good feel for, are they getting everything that they want to out of this, right? And so once you get to the point where they're happy with what they have, that is where I would have this conversation. And they should be there within 1 to 2 months. Okay? And that is where I would have this conversation. And I would say, like, okay, cool. So you've been doing this for 8 weeks now. Let's just say however many weeks it was. Say, okay, cool. So you've been doing this for 8 weeks now. What I suggest, since this is what, like, it doesn't look like you're going to stop anytime soon. I wouldn't if I were you, but, you know, you do you, boo. But what I would do is I would jump onto what is called loyalty rewards. If you don't know what that is, it's where you get, you know, your 24% off, you get your money back, you get credit, not your money back, you get credits back to be able to use toward future orders. So if you're going to be ordering this stuff anyway, basically, bottom line, if you're going to be ordering this stuff anyway, it only makes sense to get money back so you don't have to pay as much for it the next month, right? And so, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, no big deal. That is like the longer version of getting somebody on to loyalty rewards. So if you didn't get them on in the very first day, then what you do is you follow up, and I'm going to have a 90-day follow-up plan for new members. It's going to be in Cutting Edge. But there's a 90-day follow-up plan for new members for us to be able to reach out to them and have those touch points with them, right? And so with that follow-up plan, then in that follow-up plan, you're going to be able to say, okay, and if you're not in Cutting Edge, no big deal. You're just going to follow up with them like I told you. And then you're going to say, okay, well, based on the fact that it doesn't look like you're going to stop this anytime soon, I would suggest getting on loyalty rewards. And now they become part of the 87%. Conservatively 87%, right? And so that's it. That's how to properly do it. I think just having the conversation is vital. That's it. Like, let's just have the conversation, but let's not make it weird. Let's make it in association with something. So let's make it about them. How are you doing? I don't want you, here's where I think some people have the conversation, and then I'm gonna pop out of here. I think some people have the conversation to check a box that they had a conversation about loyalty rewards. And so what they do is they kind of come out of the blue, boop. Hey, did you know that you can get loyalty rewards and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it looks copy-paste, but it's not in relation to anything that is relevant to them, right? And so that's all we have to tack on. We have to make it relevant to them. They're human beings. They need to be seen and heard, right? And so we reach out to them. Hey, how's everything going? Ba, 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 ba. Okay, looks like you're going to be on this for a while, right? So now is when I would jump onto loyalty rewards. And then you could say, I didn't say it before because I wanted to make sure that you were on something that you wanted to be on before we got you on loyalty rewards. It is what it is. I mean, it doesn't have to be weird. And it's how you really grow a business, because a business isn't fully grown through signups. Now, do you need signups? Sure. But your business is grown with customers, real life customers, people that are actually customers of the company, not just businesses, right? And so this is how you do that. So I'm going to pop out of here. Love you guys. Bye-bye.